welcome to our TV show, Town of Ellington. I'm Lori Spielman, and my guest today is Mr. John Rinaldi. He is our town assessor. So welcome, John.
Thank you. Great to be here.
So we got a lot of things going on, and it's like our first spring that we're going to really get things going. One of our favorite kickoff things to do in town is Earth Day. Earth Day is coming up April 20th, and that's going to start at 10 o'clock to 2 o'clock. And there's going to be a lot of different things going on in the center of the green, which is right in the center of Ellington, and also across the street at Nellie McKnight Museum. Nellie McKnight Museum has a lot of different things going on. They change it up every year. They spend all winter looking up all these things. So their theme this year is Ellington, Believe It or Not. And it's going to be great. About the bouncing pickle is going to be the big thing, because there was a pickle factory in Ellington. They got a lot of events going on over there. We've got a lot of great vendors. And what's really important this year is we're bringing in a fire simulator trailer that your kids or anybody can walk through. And what do you do if your house is on fire, and how do you get out? So it's going to be a large safety event also. And this is due to the sad structure fire that was in Summers. So our fire department and our fire marshal has put this together. We borrowed a trailer from South Windsor, and hopefully it'll be great. Our ambulance fire department's going to be there. A lot of our town directors are going to be there, different booths. Hall Memorial Library will be there. And also, check out the Hall Memorial Library, because they have a lot of games you can take out. Big full-size chess games and all sorts of stuff. And what everybody likes is Paw Safe is going to be there. So that's always a great event. And also the farmers market, they are going to be moved. They are going to 70 Main Street, which is 70 Maple Street, which is also Route 140. And it's going to be basically in back of Center School. So they're going to kick it off with barn animal babies. So that's their usually kickoff. They'll be parking there, plenty of parking. They're going to have some food trucks. It's going to be a great event. Everybody's been working hard to get this site ready. Arbor Park, they used to have it at Arbor Park, if everybody's familiar with that. Now we're closing Arbor Park, not entirely, but we're going to renovate the whole lawn area and get rid of some of the trees that are not looking too good, and plant new trees, of course, but make the Arbor Park as it used to be. Right now, the trees, the roots are growing up, so we're going to address that. It's going to be nice. My thing is, we got to maintain our grounds, our buildings, and if we spend a little money each year to do this, then we don't have a big problem in the next 5-10 years that we neglected everything. So I think it's important. I got a great staff that works with us. We all work together, and how do we improve things and keep things going? So, John, yes. What's happening in the assessor's office? You got a lot of things going on all the time.
We do, and right now it's middle of April. We have about 1 month left when we can accept applications for our senior homeowners program, which is for age and income qualified seniors, age 65 and older, or if you're 100% permanently disabled, you can be under 65. And the income caps are $43,800 for unmarried and $53,400 for married taxpayers. That includes Social Security. But what that will do is it will save you anywhere from $100 to $1,250 off of your tax bill. And it's a sliding scale based on exactly where your income is. The application period runs till May 15th, so you have about a month left. This year, the Board of Selectmen, with a lot of research and a lot of thought into this, adopted a new program here in Ellington, which is an additional optional town program where taxpayers, age and income, same as the homeowners program, will save $200 flat off their taxes if they're age 65 to 69, and 70 and older will receive $500. So those are additional credits. If you add that on to your other credit, And then if you're a veteran or a surviving spouse of a veteran, you can get the additional veterans credit. You can easily save over $1,000 on your tax bill every year. Those programs are important, they're there, and if you're unsure, please come to the assessor's office or send us an email or call us, and we can help you out with that, because those programs are there. It doesn't cost you anything. There's no asset check or anything like that. It's just strictly age and income based, and it helps out a lot of people. We have over 100 people in these programs. We're looking to grow that number. So,
John, how do I find out about, what do I do?
the applications are on our website.
Okay.
But we can come, we're open at Town Hall till 6:30 on Mondays and till 4:30 on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. You can come in, you can call us, we'll send them to you, we'll help you fill them out. We need to have your income tax and Social Security 1099 to submit as part of that. Well, we can go through all those. We have a list of everybody that we're waiting on documents from. I had a couple people come in this morning. Takes maybe 10, 15 minutes at the most to go through all those applications. And once you're in it, you reapply every 2 years. You don't have to come every year. It's every other year. And then if your income changes, if your income goes down, then you may want to apply during the off year. But with these programs, they're pretty straightforward. It's a one-page application. There's not a lot of documentation behind it. Just a quick process, you're in and out, and then once we have the mill rate, in a couple more weeks, we'll send everybody out a notice telling them exactly how much they're going to be able to save on their taxes that year.
So this is brand new.
The new senior program is, the local program is. The homeowners program has been around through the state for a long time, but the program that Ellington adopted this year is brand new. It's the first time we've done it, and we're already generating a lot of interest. A lot of people who weren't already in the homeowners program have gone in with the new program, didn't realize they qualified for the old program too. So we're picking up a lot of people that way.
Now, did you give a talk recently about this at the senior center?
Did a few at the senior center and at the library, yes, to the veterans and to the seniors.
That's great.
A couple of them. And we've picked, every time we've gone out and talked, we've picked up more people every time. So it's very helpful to get that. I know there's more people out there, and people move to and from town every year and come in. And if you are a veteran, you should record your DD 214 discharge with the town clerk, because that's something that needs to be done in order to qualify for the veterans exemption program. But once you are the age and income for the homeowners program, we can increase that exemption from $6,000 of assessment to $17,000 of assessment. So based on our current mill rate, $17,000 is almost $600 in tax savings just for that one program out of 3. So you can easily get into thousands of dollars.
That's great. Now, usually you hear the word assessor and people want to run. Mm-hmm. But I want you to know the town of Ellington, we've got great staff. They're happy and they're willing to work with you. Yep. John, you have a wonderful staff.
We do. Laura and Holly are both fantastic. They've both been around. They've been experienced in our town for a little bit. And the customer service is first rate. They'll do anything they can to help out anybody. We've had situations where somebody forgot something and we brought it to their house, to help them out and make sure they didn't have to spend another trip in. But yeah, I can't sing the praises of Laura and Holly enough. They do a phenomenal job. Taxpayers come in, they're courteous to everybody, and keep their eye on what their task is to help people to apply for what they're doing and answer their questions. And a lot of times they're very proactive in that. When we review the deeds, we just had a situation last week where we found a situation on a deed where a name was spelled incorrectly. So we pointed that out and got that fixed so that there isn't a problem with a title search 20 years from now. Things like that can happen if we're not paying attention, so we try to make sure we don't miss anything like that.
I want residents to come into our town buildings and have a great experience.
Oh, yeah.
So I think it's really important that, and we have a great staff. Town clerk, everybody is just wonderful and very helpful.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's a great town to work in. I just started working here about 1.5 years ago. And I'm really glad I came here. I retired from another town, and this has been a great move. It's really fun to come to work every morning.
Oh, that's great. And even our residents. I mean, they tease you. They're fun.
Yeah, oh, they are. And the residents who come in will come in with a lot of information. The history you learn about the town just from the residents is incredible. You hear something new every week.
Yeah.
It's really great.
So now, something that's really confusing for a lot of people is the car tax. Mm-hmm. You go from Kelley Blue Book to this to that, and can you explain that a little bit?
Well, it's changing. This is the last year that last year we're going to bill for the 23 list, which is going to be built in June, is the last year we're using the NADA J.D. Power books. The statute was changed 2 years ago to a new statute based on MSRP minus depreciation. If anybody fills out a personal property declaration, it's very similar to that process. So we're changing to that methodology. We don't know all the details yet. There's still a couple little corners that have to be worked out as to how we're going to do that. This year on the 23 list, using the J.D. Power books, the values came down again. For the last couple of years before that, the values had gone up during COVID and during the supply chain issues. Used car values had gone up to unprecedented levels. This year they came back down. We were down about 10% on the motor vehicle list, which lowered our grand list. But that system is going to change entirely now moving forward. We think it's probably for most people going to drop again with the MSRP. Once a vehicle gets older, it depreciates more and more and more. So it won't be subject to the swings we've had the last couple of years. That's something that we're anxious to see how it comes out, because we still a couple little T's that have to be crossed and I's that have to be dotted, and we're waiting to see how that comes out. But it's overall, it's going to probably result in most motor vehicle assessments coming down.
How do you keep up on that? Because you have all different cars. You have trucks. You have, how about boats? Do they tax boats or just the trailers?
Just the trailers. That's since the early 1980s, boats were made exempt. But the trailers they're on are still registered vehicles.
Now, how about campers? Campers must be, right?
Campers are. A lot of campers, though, if they're in a campground in another town, even though the person might live here, the camper is never here. So we work with some of the towns, Eastford, Mansfield, some of the other towns around that have campgrounds in them. They're down along the shoreline, there's a few. And sometimes those campers, they're registered to an Ellington address, but they've never actually been in Ellington. So we make sure it's where they most frequently leave from or return to. Some of those campers never leave from or return to anywhere because they're permanently stationed in the town where they are. So we work with the other towns on those.
How does it work with out-of-state plates?
Connecticut statute defines an unregistered vehicle as any vehicle not registered in Connecticut. So what happens with that is if it's registered in Florida or not registered at all, it would be taxable here if it most frequently leaves from or stays here and returns to here. We do get complaints about those, and we do get information about those from neighbors saying, hey, my neighbor's car, I was out yesterday actually looking at a couple of them. I took a couple pictures, and we'll do some investigation on those, see if the person actually lives here. Certainly, if you're getting an exemption like we just talked about, you need to be a resident here. If you're getting a veteran's exemption or a homeowner's exemption, if you vote here, if you have kids in the school system here, we will address those with the people, write them a letter saying, here, this is what the law says. You can get a ticket for that. If your car is registered in another state and you're here, you can get a ticket for that. It's hard to enforce it, and it's a little harder for us to enforce with chasing them around, but we do that. We do have them on our grand list, and we know there's more out there, and we're working to find more of them.
You know, talking to you in the last year, I find it interesting some of the stories that how you really dig to find out. Can you tell me a couple?
Sure. First thing you want to do is drive by. We'll get calls from residents all the time. I always want to see the car before I contact anybody. If we don't know it's there, we don't know it's there. So we want to make sure that we actually see the vehicle, we talk to the people that are there, and give them an explanation. A lot of people sometimes, if you didn't grow up in Connecticut, you don't even know there is a car tax. I grew up in New Jersey. I never saw a car tax bill till I moved to New England. But a lot of times people are doing it because they figure, well, I don't want to have to pay taxes on it too. And that's not as big a problem in the suburbs as it is in some of the cities in the state, but it is a problem everywhere. I actually contacted the Florida DMV last year. I've done it several times, and I got a list of all the vehicles they have registered in Florida with Connecticut mailing addresses. There were over 12,000 vehicles statewide. Now, some of them are probably legitimately in Florida, but not all of them are. And certainly, we all see a lot of Florida plates when we're doing our daily errands driving around in various towns. And, we have a car tax. I know there's been legislation talked about getting rid of the car tax, but right now we have it. And it isn't fair to the people who are doing things right if other people are skirting the system that way. So we contact them and see, and probably about a third of the people that we talk to register here. Some of them will declare it as personal property, and some of them will have to, keep explaining it to them and try to make sure that there's a meeting of the minds on how this is supposed to happen. There's a lot of, the assessor's handbook is 4.5 inches thick.
But you spend a lot of time hunting this down.
We do.
Which is
we do.
amazing.
And we get complaints all the time from residents, as they should. I mean, if they see their neighbors not paying their fair share, they let us know. And we'll go out and investigate those claims. There's quite a few of them. And, not as many as there are in some of the larger communities, obviously, but they're all worth looking into. And sometimes there's reasons we wouldn't assess them. I had somebody once who had Massachusetts plates, and her elderly mom was in home hospice, and she was going to stay there for a few months. I wasn't going to tax that car because that car wasn't going to be here. That wasn't the intent. It wasn't supposed to be here permanently, and she didn't live here. And once her mom passed, we never saw the car again. She moved back home. That was a situation where we just didn't feel it was appropriate to tax that. So it's not that you drive through once and we're going to tax you, or you park your car there once and we're going to tax you. It's not like that at all. There needs to be an investigation that goes on.
Wow, that's great. You work with people. I think that's huge.
Yep.
What else is going on in town? We had a structure fire. I have some pictures. They had 2 animals that were rescued. The fire department did a great job. There was Ellington Fire Department, Crystal Lake Fire Department. Our fire marshal was on scene. Ellington Animal Control was on scene, and they worked really hard and put the fire out, which was great. And it was great to watch the police with the ambulance crew working on the animals. Oh. There was a cat, survived very well, but they gave the dog oxygen, and it was just everybody worked like clockwork, and it was a great event. Also, I want to bring up at Department of Public Works building, we are taking a lot of stoves, refrigerators, electronics, all sorts of different things. We're doing a great job. And by taking out these big bulk items, it reduces our tonnage in the trash. So it actually saves the town money. Textiles is huge. We've been collecting a lot of textiles, and that's been a great thing. Also, we opened up a swap shop. So people that are moving, downsizing, or whatever, if they have lamps that work fine, but they don't want to throw them in the junk pile or whatever, you bring them to the swap shop, and if somebody else could use them, they take them. TVs, they have all sorts of different things in the swap shop. Vacuum cleaners, everything. So it's working out quite well. Sam's doing a fantastic job. The Public Works is out starting to sweep the town roads. We don't use a lot of sand anymore, but they're just touching up all the roads. I noticed today they are out mowing for the first time. I noticed all the dandelions are up too. And also this week we are starting the new parking lot at Ellington Hall Memorial Library. So that's pretty exciting. And all that money was for a grant. Arbor Park was grant money. So that's great. Just trying to improve our facilities in Ellington. Also, I have some slide pictures of Sue did a great job at for the eclipse at the library. I have some pictures of a lot of people came out. 275 and over came out to see the eclipse, and did a great job. Okay. So how about property tax?
Yep. Well, we just bid our 2025 revaluation. Under state statute, towns must revalue property every 5 years. The last one here was the grand list of October 1st, 2020, which tax bills came out in June of 2021. So we just bid the 2025 list. It's about, almost 2 years before they're going to see the bill at this point, but it's a long process, and we have to go through a bid process for that. We got the responses and opened them last week. We're going through that now and looking at the vendors and seeing what we're going to do for that. But the process of doing a revaluation is revaluing every real estate account in town. And there's over 6,000 real estate accounts in Ellington. So that's a pretty long process. This is a little bit different than what was done in 2020 because we don't do the full measure and list component where we go around and look at every property. This is an updated revaluation, so you do that measuring list every other time because that's the most expensive part. Having to send somebody out to look at that many properties is extremely expensive. So we do keep up on permits and changes to properties based on our work in our office anyway, and we'll probably do data mailers to verify the data. But that's a process that takes, doing the reval itself will take over a year to do that. And this is the October 1st, 2025 grand list. It's now April of 2024, so it's only a year and a half away. And there's a lot that goes in from point A to point B. We'll be sending out more information to the taxpayers in town, to the residents in town, as we get closer to the date, letting them know the important dates and what's happening and when it's happening. And when they do get their new value, there's an informal hearing process first before the Board of Assessment Appeals. So you have multiple levels to appeal your assessment. My advice to residents in town is start thinking about your value before you see our value. Go maybe next summer and start looking online. You can go on our website or any real estate agent's website and look at what's selling in your neighborhood. Look at what's out there and get a sense of where you think your house should be valued. I think you might be pleasantly surprised when you see our value if you do it that way. Sometimes if you look at our value first, you're kind of predisposed to want to look for a lower value. If you're proactive about it, I think you'll probably find that you're going to be pleasantly surprised about it.
So I think I could be wrong, our last assessment, wasn't it during COVID?
Yeah, it was right. Yes, it was October of 2020 was the value date, so the work was being done during COVID, and that created a lot of concern.
That was hard.
Especially with the measure and list part, because you didn't want to be a super spreader by going down the street and infecting
Right.
everybody. So a lot of towns, I was in Manchester at the time, we switched to doing data mailers and exterior only at that point, and it turned out pretty well. Is you had to react. You didn't want to. With that pandemic going on, no one knew what was happening at that point as far as how bad it was going to get and how much worse it was going to get. And we didn't want to be a catalyst for anything bad to happen. So yeah, it's amazing. It was 4 years ago already, but yeah.
Now, this time, do they go into your house?
Nope.
Just outside?
The only thing they'll just be doing sales verification this time because we did all that last time. So the data mailers will go and we'll do the sales verification because if property sold, those are the biggest amount of focus because that's what you're going to be using for comparables. For the commercial properties to do the income and expense reports as we do every year, they just went out a couple weeks ago for this year, for last calendar year, and we'll do the values based on that. And whenever you do a revaluation, properties go up, properties go down over time, and they don't all go up or down by the same rate. A lot of people will come in and they'll say, well, all the houses are up 20%. Yes, but in your neighborhood it might be outperforming the market, might be underperforming the market. So it might average at 20%, but not everybody's going to be 20%. Some might be 25 or 30, some might be 10 or 12. So you have to look and find out where those are and why the reasons are there for that. And there are other factors in that too. We have a lot of crumbling foundations in town, in Ellington, and we're getting applications and we're having repairs. I was out looking at one yesterday that was repaired. So we're adding some and we're taking some off. Those have a factor that's already applied to them due to their foundation. We have to reapply that when we do the revaluation.
Now, if somebody has a crumbling foundation, they should come in and see you.
Yes.
And what do you do?
If they have a report, this was a change in 2016 in the statute. If they have a report from an engineer that says they have defective concrete, they give us a copy of that report. We have to do an inspection, and then we reduce their assessment. Originally, it was only for 5 years. Once everybody realized this program wasn't going to be fixed, the problem wasn't going to be fixed in 5 years, they extended that now where it's until you fix your house. So there is, on the state side, CIFSIC, which is a captive insurance fund, which will provide relief funds, money for people to replace their foundations. We had a meeting with them a couple of weeks ago. They just went over 900 houses that they've replaced the foundations on.
Wow.
So yeah, it works.
So also, I try to encourage people to, if you really are skeptical, please come in and take advantage of our staff. See John at the assessor's office. Go over and make an appointment and see our building inspector. Mm-hmm. Ray is wonderful, and he will make sure if you have an estimate that he can explain to you what you're getting. Just because they're redoing your foundation, are you getting your sidewalks back? Are you getting your deck back? Are you getting your driveway repaired? Mm-hmm. Are you getting any shrubs back? Are they going right down and taking the footings out and putting footing drains in? There's a lot to it.
Oh, there is.
Instead of just raising up the house, putting a new foundation, and everything goes back to normal, that's not the way it goes.
And in theory, the money you save on your taxes for the years leading up to that will help pay for the shrubs, the walkway, I've seen people take 20-year-old decks off of houses and put them back on. I've seen other people take them off and put them back on, but redo just the surface. And I've seen people build entirely new decks.
Right.
Finishing basements once the basement comes out is an issue in a lot of cases. There are a lot of things involved beyond just concrete, and the time involved and all that. They usually lift the houses, but you see it in the air, but that house has got to be, the foundation's got to be excavated very slowly because you're using much smaller equipment because there's a house on top of you. You can't just go in there and rip it out. So everything's more time consuming in this process.
Well, that's another thing that you hit on. People have finished basements. Now you're not going to have a finished basement.
Yep.
So that's a big impact.
Yep.
But I really want our residents to make sure that they understand what they're getting, instead of just signing, okay, we're going to, and then...
And between our office and the building department, we can go. We've been doing this since it started,
Right.
And we can go over a lot of the variables with them. A lot of times when people first find out they have the problem, it's a very shocking thing to them, and it's almost like
It's
dealing with
devastating to
grief.
them.
It's like stages of grief. They're upset about it. Over time, as they get more into it, once they realize there is money from CIFSIC, well, we can help them out with the assessment. Things start to look a little bit better, and I can't tell you how many people I've talked to who have had their house foundation replaced, and it's like the weight of the world is off their shoulders now. They're past it now. And some people in the very early days when this program started coming out, before CIFSIC was there back in 2015, 2016, people were selling their houses just to get out of them and taking a huge loss in doing so. The idea behind CIFSIC replacing your foundation so you don't have to do that, so you don't have to lose that money. Once you sell your house for a fraction of what it's worth, the money's gone.
I do want to mention I worked hard with Stafford and Vernon. We teamed up together, and we've got money for people for testing foundations. So they can actually go to you and find out about it. But I guess our time has run out. And John, thank you so much for all your information. If anybody has any questions, please stop in and see John. He's always happy to help. And have a great spring. Thank you.